Elect Elizabeth Warren president and the stock market will fall precipitously. So says a range of experts, from Paul Tudor Jones to Rob Citron to Leon Cooperman. But wait a second, haven't we heard that refrain before? Welcome now Sarah Ponczek of Bloomberg News, who's taken a look back at what people predicted before other power shifts in Washington. So welcome, Sarah. As I say, I think I've heard this before.
We have heard this before, and what we tried to do with this story we put out today is kind of just present a gut check and say, wait, before you listen to any pundits, any strategists that come out and say that the market is going to drop 25% should Elizabeth Warren win the presidency, remember what's happened in the past. Just take President Trump's election, for instance. I mean, you had a range of strategists, you had other pundits coming out before that election in 2016 saying that we would be in for a ton of volatility, that if he won, the S&P would fall into a correction. And sure, the immediate reaction was negative, but then we saw a very strong rebound. And since, the market has gained about 40% or so. So it just goes to show that it's really difficult to predict what someone's policies are actually going to look like and what they're going to focus on.
And what they can get done. I mean, you have to get it through Congress, which we've learned is pretty difficult. But also, if you look back at President Obama, the market went up under him as well. Now, he was coming off of a recession, so he was starting from a low base, but it came up under him as well.
And what's interesting about Obama is that even though we saw the market rise 40% in his first term, Bloomberg put out a survey right before the 2012 election and asked, would another Obama term be bad for the markets? And more than 50% actually said yes. Then, as we all know, the market went on to rally even further. And when people think about Elizabeth Warren, people say, well, her platform is very different. You have to think about her wanting to break up big tech, also where she stands on healthcare with the wealth tax. But like you said, you don't know that everything is actually going to get through. What are those policies actually going to look like once we do? And I spoke with the chief investment of research of Nationwide Funds, and he put it best. He said, our economy is bigger than one person in one election cycle. You have to think of the different factors.
Well, that's the point. And our economy includes the global economy to some extent, because to some extent, isn't this the factor of, we'd like to fasten on one thing that'll determine it. In fact, it's so complicated. There are so many factors about the global economy growth, U.S. economic growth, various fundamentals that the president can make a difference on that margin, certainly, but not overall.
Right. People tend to overestimate the power that the president actually has on the entire global economy and also even potentially on the U.S. stock market. You think about what we've seen this year with the gains, a lot of that has been precipitated by the Fed and easier monetary policy. Now, some might say, well, maybe President Trump did help force the Fed's hand, but still, that's all conjecture, and there are many other reasons, many other things that move the market rather than just one president's policy.
But in this president's case, right now, there is one thing he could do that might make a difference, and that is tweet something about China.
He could. I mean, every single time we see President Trump tweet something about China, we see volatility either which way. It is pretty amazing. Even just this morning, we got the headlines passed that the APEC summit in Chile was going to be canceled, and we saw stocks drop because that is when President Xi and President Trump are supposed to actually sign that bill. So there's a question mark there. When are they going to sign it? Where are they going to sign it? But some, when we were writing the story, even told me, well, Warren could actually be similar to Trump in that sense. You just get more volatility because she's very outwards with the way she speaks.